inexplicably, unexcusably, he turns them away. He turns them away in their deepest hour of need. There's no room in the inn, he grumbles, and he closes the door in their faces. That much, oy that much is true. But you won't hear any of it in any of the accounts that are circulating today. But there is more. There is more to the innkeeper story. I know because I am his wife. Now, I'm not saying that his actions were right or that he is justified in what that he did. But when you know the whole story, you will understand my husband, and you may even pity him. Where to begin? On that cold, clear night, my husband Benjamin and I had just celebrated 20 years of marriage. Our inn was full with many travelers who had come to Bethlehem, the city of David. They had come to register for Caesar's tax. And the more crowded that our inn became, with families from every corner of Israel, the more hollow our hearts seemed. You see, in our 20 years of marriage, God had never blessed us with a child. The walls of our house had never heard the newborn cries of a child. We had never heard the giggles of a toddler or the curious question to the child. Benjamin and I were barren. Now I know we are not the first couple to suffer this grief, and I am sure that we will not be the last. But think of the shame and the disappointment that this meant to a couple who lived in Bethlehem. Everyone knew that God's promised Messiah, the Savior, would be born in Bethlehem. Men of God had prophesied this long ago. In Bethlehem, when news spread that a woman was with child, the anticipation was doubled. Would this child be the Messiah, the promised deliverer of our entire nation, the one that we longed for? Every pregnancy in our town was greeted with awe and wonder. And every sight of a pregnant woman reminded Benjamin and me of our barrenness in our lives. We knew that the Messiah would never be born under our roof. Oh, my husband is a quiet and a humble man, a man of deep feeling and compassion. But the sight of a pregnant woman was too much for him to take, much less invite her into our home. So when the knock on the door came that night, I was not surprised to hear him turn the couple away, as he had done on many other occasions. There were other places of lodging in our town, but this night was different. We knew that it would be impossible for this couple to find rest or shelter anywhere in our town. And judging by the look of anguish on that young girl's face, I knew it would not be not long before her baby would come. Benjamin collapsed against the closed door. The anguish on his face was a sight more unbearable than the anguish on the face of that pregnant girl. Her anguish would soon be over. But my husband, he would take his anguish to the grave. "There's room in the stable," he whispered. "Do what you can to make them comfortable." I kissed the tear-stained cheek of my husband, and I hurried out the door, frantic that that couple might have gotten away. But I need not have worried. They had not moved. They seemed frozen in their spot. But on their faces, faces was a holy expectancy. Come, come, I said, follow me. There's room in our stable. I led them around the house to the place where we stabled our guest beast. It was more of a cave, actually, with small stalls. They were dug out of the hillside, and I was astonished and thankful to discover that one of the stalls was freshly cleaned. And I saw Benjamin's cloak hanging on the peg. I knew he had just been there, preparing the place for the impending birth of this child. It's not the place you imagined for the birth of your child, I told the young woman as her husband and I helped her down off of the donkey. And I am sorry, I can't offer you more. Oh, she smiled her gratitude. Then she squeezed my arm so hard I thought it would break. Stay with me, stay with me. She groaned. I now understood how Benjamin had felt when he turned them away from our door. How could I, a barren woman, long past hope of ever birthing a child myself, bear to watch another woman bring her longed-for child into the world? I wanted to refuse. I wanted to run sobbing back into my warm house. But the young husband's face, that stopped me. There I saw the same look of anguish on his face that had etched deep lines into my own husband's face. I stayed. And the three of us labored together for what seemed an eternity. I felt this young woman's every pain in my mind, in my soul, and in my body. And just when the pain seemed unbearable, the baby finally came. Instantly, the new parents forgot about me. Caught up instead of adoring this child. He is here, Joseph, the young woman whispered. The Messiah has been born. Quickly, yet gently, Joseph held the baby up to examine him in the torchlight. Yes, Mary, he is here. Emmanuel, God is with us. I sat stunned. The Messiah, God's promised deliverer, born in our stable, born under our roof. Could this be? I knew instantly into my heart that it was true. The baby's lusty cry masked the sound of my own tears, but this time my tears were not of envy or disappointment, but of hope and a new life. I knew I had to share this with Benjamin. I stood to my feet, and before I could turn around, I felt a warm, familiar hand on my shoulder. It was my Benjamin. One look at his face, and I knew the lines of hopeless anguish were gone. They were replaced with a soft tenderness that he had long ago abandoned. He had witnessed this miraculous birth in secret. He had heard the good news of all the homes in all of Bethlehem. Ours had been chosen to welcome the birth of the Messiah. Our quiet tears turned to boisterous laughter as we embraced and we glorified our God. Sometime later that night, I thought, I would love to give this baby a gift. But what could I give? What could I give to the King of Kings? I am but a innkeeper's wife, and I am not a crafty person, not like your Martha Stewart. I'm not like that. I didn't know what could I give to this child. And that is what he wants from all of us. So tonight, as we remember that very first Christmas long, long ago, let's not think of the gifts that are hung under the tree. Let's not think of the presents we might get tomorrow. But let's instead think what we can give to the King of Kings, the Lord of